Hello students, welcome back to my next lecture of chapter Reproduction in Plants and Animals. So students, in the previous video we have discussed some modes of asexual reproduction. Now in this video I will discuss the topic vegetative propagation with you. Now students, you know very well what is vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation means propagation of those plants or production of those plants in which the reproduction takes place from the vegetative parts of the plant body, just like roots, stems and leaves. So this process it takes place in those plants which do not produce seeds or whose seeds they fail to germinate. And such reproduction it involves only the vegetative parts of the plant. This I have already told. Now this reproduction as it takes place from various parts of the plants like stem or leaves or roots. So we will discuss here some forms of vegetative propagation. Now first form it is the vegetative propagation by underground stems. Now underground stems or some plants, underground stems of some plants they produce buds, and these buds they grow into new plants, and this type of vegetative propagation it can be seen in case of potatoes. In case of potatoes the modified stems they are called the tubers. Students, sometimes you have seen some marks on the surface of potatoes, and these marks they are actually called the eyes, and these eyes they are actually buds. So from these buds if we want to produce new plant from these buds, then we will cut this potato in few pieces, and each piece it should have a bud on it. Then if we sow these pieces into the soil, then we will get new plants from each piece of potato. Now this vegetative propagation from subaerial stem it can also be seen in case of onions, and in onion this part it is known as the bulbs, and these bulbs, from bulbs the vegetative propagation it can also be done in case of garlic and tuberose. Then cones they are actually the underground stems in gladiolus and saffron, and from these underground stems also, from the buds of these underground stems also we can produce new plants. Now in case of ginger, the new plants they grow from the buds, and then these gingers these branches they are actually underground stems, they are actually branched, and they are found in plants like turmeric also. Now we will discuss the vegetative propagation by subaerial stems. Now subaerial stems, in some plants a branch it arises from the base of the stem and grows horizontally just on the surface of the ground or slightly below it. Now this you can see in this figure. In this figure students, you can see that in this plant from the base of the stem some other branches, some small branches they are arising, and these branches they grow horizontally just on the surface of the ground or slightly below it. Now from the nodes of the some such subaerial stems the new plants they can be produced, because the nodes of these subaerial stems the tuft of root hairs or some one or many branches they are arising. So these tufts of root hairs or branches they give rise to new independent plant, and this type of vegetative propagation it can be seen in case of Indian paniwort, which is also known as the Brahmi booty, then wood sorrel, then mint, then chrysanthemum and wild strawberry. In case of mint you can easily see this type of vegetative propagation. Now this type of vegetative propagation it can also be seen in case of banana. So students, you can see here that this is the main stem part, and from this main stem plant, this stem it lies horizontally on the surface of the ground, and from this main stem part, from the nodes of this stem, these new plants having tufts of root hairs they are also arising. So in this way the new plants they can be produced. Now the vegetative propagation it can also be done by leaf buds. Now in case of leaf buds you can see Here this is the leaf, and you can see that on the margin of this leaf there are some birds, and from these birds the new plants they are arising. And when this leaf it gets fall, then this new plant it gets detached from its surface, and then it gives rise to a new plant body. And this small plant, this which is rising from the bird which is present on the leaf surface, it gets its whole nutrition from this leaf. So in this way the new plants they can be produced by using subaerial stems, by using aerial stems, and by using that one leaf buds. Then we discuss the advantages of vegetative propagation. Now this vegetative reproduction it is responsible for the continuation of those plant species which cannot produce viable seeds. Viable seeds means the plants in which the seeds they fail to germinate. So in those cases this vegetative propagation method can be applied, and such plants they are like banana, grape, ginger and taro. Then second advantage of vegetative propagation is that the plants which are produced by this mode of vegetative propagation they can survive under unfavorable conditions also, with the help of its underground, subaerial and aerial parts. Then third one is that the plants which is produced by this vegetative propagation it attains maturity earlier than the plant which is produced from the seeds. Then fourth advantage is that the same features and qualities they are passed from the parent plant to the new produced plant. So in this way this vegetative propagation it can be used to cultivate plants with certain desirable features also. Means if in a plant we see that these features of these plants they are very good, then the same desirable features we can want in other plants, then we can apply this method of vegetative propagation. And the plants which is produced by this way they are like dahlia, gladiolus and lily. And these plants they are grown in this way, and they are grown in nurseries and gardens all over the world. Now students, we will discuss the disadvantages of vegetative propagation. Disadvantages means vegetative propagation, as I have already told, that in this process the same characters they pass from parents to offspring. So in this way there is lack of genetic variation, means there is no variation of characters in generation after generation. So it will lead to the production of weaker plants. Weaker plants means now the plants which are produced by this method they may be easily caught by the diseases and pests. So in this way any disease that the parent plant it is having it can spread to the new offspring. So it will lead to the destruction of the entire crop. Then second disadvantage is that vegetative propagation it allows a plant to produce a large number of offspring in a short time. So in this way all the offspring which are produced, large number of offsprings which are produced by this way, they get accumulated, they get collected nearest to the parent plant body, and they are not dispersed far. So it will be the competition for nutrients and for some other resources among plants of species, and due to this competition the weaker plants they will get die, and only the stronger plants they can survive. So it is all about the different modes of vegetative propagation and also the advantages and disadvantages of vegetative propagation. Now students, we will discuss artificial vegetative propagation. Now the different methods of artificial vegetative propagation they are like cutting, layering, grafting and tissue culture. And all these techniques they result in the rapid production of mature plants. So in this way the crops they are produced faster as compared to the plants which are grown from the seeds. Now the first method of artificial vegetative propagation it is the cutting. Now this is the simplest method of artificial vegetative propagation, and this method you have you usually see in case of rose plant. Means if we want to produce rose plant, then we will cut a part of the stem of the parent rose plant and sow that cut part in moist soil, and after some time from this part the new roots they are arising, then it grows into an independent plant. Some other examples of plants which can be grown by this method, they are like mango, sugarcane and rose. Now, second method of artificial vegetative propagation, it is the layering method. Now, in this method, a portion of one of the lowest branches of the plant, it is bent downward so that it touches the soil. So, this you can see in this diagram, students, that here you can see this is the lowest branch of the plant body. Here in this case also lowest branch of the plant body, and this lowest branch, it comes in contact with the soil. So, for it, firstly, we have to produce a ring of the bark, means ring of the outer surface of the stem, it is removed from this portion, and then we have to cover this portion with soil so that it can come in contact with soil completely. Now we have to put a brick, or we have to put some heavy object on this portion so that this portion, it comes in contact with the soil and it takes all the nutrients and water from the soil. Now after some time you can see that the small roots, they starts appearing from this portion. Now this portion, it should be cut off from the main plant and then it should be grown as an independent plant in the soil. So in this way a new plant, it can be produced, and this method, it is used with plants like lemon, rose and jasmine. Now another method of layering, it is to remove a ring of bark from the branch of a plant. Means if this portion, if the lowest branch, it doesn't come in contact with the soil, then we have to remove a portion of the bark of the plant, and then we have to cover that portion, that bare portion from where the bark, it is removed. We have to cover that portion with soil. After that we have to wrap that portion along with soil with a piece of cloth so that the soil, it stays in that place. Now this portion, it should be continuously watered, it should be regularly watered, and after 2 or 3 months you can see that small rootlets, they start appearing from this portion. Then this branch again, it should be cut off and then it should be planted in a moist soil, and then we will get a new independent plant. And this method, it can be applied again in case of guava, mango, lychee, orange and lemon. Now students, next method of artificial vegetative propagation, it is the grafting method. Now this grafting method, it consists of two parts. One is known as the scion, another one is known as the stalk. Now scion, it is the cutting of a young stem. As you can see in this diagram, students, that's scion. This is the scion part. It is a cutting of a young stem. And this is the stalk portion, which is a part of a rooted plant. This plant, it is rooted in the soil, but this is the cutting of a young stem. Now these two portions, they should be cut in such a way that when they come in contact with each other, or when we join them, then they should be joined in a very nice way. Means they should join up in a very nice way, and when they join up in a very nice way, then after a few days we will see that they will grow as a single plant. Here you can see that this is a scion portion, this is a stalk. Both the portions, they are joined in a very nice way. Then in order to keep them in place, we have to wrap them with a piece of thread or some thick thread or strong rope. Then after some time you can see that both this portion, they will grow as a single plant. So this is the method of grafting. Now this method, it is usually common with plants like mango and rose. Now the method of grafting, which is known as the bud grafting. So in this case you can see the buds, they can insert it under the bark of the stem of the stalk plant. Now this is a stalk plant, this is the bud of another plant, and here the bud which is already present on the stalk plant, it should be removed from this place, and in this place the new bud, it can be inserted. Then as we have inserted this new bud in the place of this old bud, then we have to again cover this part with a piece of string so that the bud it comes in place, and after some time you can see that both these portions they will grow as a single plant. Then grafting, it is very useful if one wants to grow a new variety with certain desirable features such as the color of a flower or the taste of a fruit. Means this grafting method it is useful in the plants where we want some desirable feature. Desirable feature means if suppose the stalk of the plant it is having a good color of the flower, and the plant whose bud we are inserting in this plant, that plant it is having a good taste of the fruit. So both these characters if we want to get in one plant, then we have to insert the bud of the plant which is having good taste of fruit in the plant which is having good color of flower. So when the new plant it is rising after the grafting, then the flowers of the same plant they are having good color, and fruit of that plant it is having a good taste. It means both the characters we can get in the one plant. Now students, we will discuss our next method of tissue culture. Tissue culture, many plant tissues just like the tissues of roots, shoots or buds, these tissues they are used means they have the ability to give rise to a whole new plant when they are grown on a suitable growth media, and this suitable growth media it is also known as the culture media. Now here in case of tissue culture, the plant tissues means the tissues of root or stem they are cultured means they are grown on growth media, and this growth media it should consist of various salt, nutrients, antibiotics and plant hormones, and all these things they should be kept in a germ free environment in laboratories. Now this technique it is known as tissue culture, and it is also known as micro propagation. Now here in this diagram you can see that this is the plant tissue. Now the part of the plant whose tissues we are taking, that one is known as the explant. So here you can see that the tissues of some part of the plant these are taken. Now this tissue it is kept in a growth media which is having all these things like various salts, nutrients, antibiotics and plant hormones. And the plant hormones, there are two types of plant hormones. One is known as the auxins and other one is known as the cytokinins. And auxins they are responsible for the growth of the root tissues, and cytokinins they are responsible for the growth of the shoot tissue. So both these hormones they should be kept in equal amount so that there is equal growth of roots and stems. Now this growth media, when we put the explant in a growth media along with these hormones, then this growth medium it causes the plant cells to divide and divide. So in this way a mass of cells is formed, and these cells they are undifferentiated cells. Undifferentiated cells means here we can't differentiate that which cells they are of roots and which cells they are of shoots. So in this way this mass of undifferentiated cells it is known as the callus. Then this callus it is then transferred to another growth media, and this growth media it promotes the growth of roots and shoots in a differential way. Means now we are able to recognize which are the cells of roots and which are the cells of shoots. Now the plantlets then they are separated and then they are allowed to grow further, and then these new plants they are now totally available to us, and then these new plants they are finally transplanted in gardens or fields. So in this way you can see in this diagram that this is the explant. Now this callus mass of cells it is developed. Now it is transferred to another media, growth media, where the roots they are developed, the shoots they are developed, then they are growth they are further they are growing. When small plantlets we can get in by the help of tissue culture. Now students, I will discuss with you the advantages of tissue culture. Now tissue culture, it allows the rapid production of disease free high quality plants in large numbers. Means the plants which are produced by tissue culture, they are disease free and their quality it is very high, and in this way we can get a large number of plants in a very short time. And also by this way the disease free plants, they can be produced from the plants which are affected by viruses. Means although the if the parent plant it is affected by a disease or it is affected by a virus, but the new plant which is produced by these plants, they are totally disease free. And fruit plants, ornamental plants and plants used in forestry, they are propagated by this method. So in this way students, I have discussed with you all these topics. So you have to revise all the topics, and in the next lecture I will discuss with you sexual reproduction in plants. So until that, bye bye. Thank you.